Many people view their salary as just a number that enters their account at the end of the month and leaves right after to pay bills. It's like a bucket full of holes. Money comes in and drains out before you even notice. This way of thinking is dangerous because it always puts you in a survival position, never in a growth position. Now imagine this. What if each salary you receive was seen as a seed? A small seed may seem insignificant, but when it's planted and cared for, it grows and transforms into a fruit-bearing tree. And the best part, a tree doesn't bear fruit just once, but in every season. Your salary should be the same way. Changing your mindset about money means stopping thinking that it exists only to pay bills and starting to see that it can build something greater. The rich and successful are not those who earn more, but those who understand how to multiply what they already have. Think about this. A construction worker who earns $1,000 per month and intelligently saves $100 can, in a few years, have more assets than someone who earns $5,000 and spends everything on luxuries. The secret isn't in the size of the salary, but in how you see and use that salary. As Robert Kiyosaki said, true wealth isn't in how much you earn, but in how you think about what you earn. If your mind believes that money only serves to survive, you'll always live limited. But if you shift your focus to growth, new doors will open, because you start looking for opportunities that previously went unnoticed. This is the first hidden key, reprogramming the way you think. The salary stops being an end and becomes a means to build assets, a means to open opportunities, a means to get out of the rat race and achieve freedom. If I asked you now, do you know exactly where every cent of your salary goes? Most people would answer confidently, "Of course I do." But when we start analyzing statements and observing daily habits, we discover something surprising. There are small financial leaks that, when added up, erode a good part of what you receive. It's like a boat at sea. You can row with all your strength, but if there are holes in the hull, water will enter and the boat will slowly sink without you noticing. That's what hidden expenses are like. They don't seem dangerous immediately, but in the long run, they drain the energy from your salary. Let me give you some very common examples. That app subscription you don't use anymore, but continues to be debited every month. The harmless coffee purchase every day before work. It seems like little, but $3 per day over 22 working days is $66 per month. In a year, more than $700. Hidden bank fees, credit card interest, and even unnecessary service charges that you don't even notice. These small amounts seem irrelevant day to day, but when added up, they can equal a trip, an initial investment, or even a down payment on a business. It's as if your salary were constantly leaking through invisible cracks. And here's the secret. Identifying and eliminating these leaks is like giving yourself a hidden raise, because, in practice, you end up having more money available without needing to work more hours or wait for a promotion. Robert Kiyosaki often says that the rich pay attention to details that the poor ignore. Hidden expenses are those details. While many treat them as irrelevant, those with a growth mindset understand that every dollar saved can be transformed into a seed for multiplication. Therefore, the second step to multiply your salary is simple but powerful. Take a magnifying glass to your finances, discover where the holes are, and plug them. Only then will you ensure that the boat arrives safely at the destination of your financial freedom. Here's one of the biggest differences between those who are always chasing money and those who manage to multiply it: how they use their salary. Most people, as soon as they receive it, already think about consuming. It's the feeling of, finally, I can buy what I want. But the problem is that this cycle never ends. Money comes in, goes away quickly, and at the end of the month, the feeling is emptiness. It's as if the salary were just a wind that passes and disappears. Now, imagine if you treated each part of your salary like a small income-generating machine. This is the logic of assets. An asset is everything that puts money in your pocket, even when you're not working. It can be as simple as buying books or courses that increase your knowledge, allowing you to earn more in the future. Setting up a small fixed income investment or funds that generate interest. Buying stocks or real estate shares that distribute dividends. Even starting a small online business with part of what's left over. Notice, we're not talking about gigantic amounts. Often, starting with $50 or $100 per month is enough to activate the gear. It's like planting a seedling in the backyard. It won't bear fruit tomorrow, but soon it starts to grow and generate results. On the other hand, when salary is used only on liabilities, things that consume money and don't return anything, like excess clothes, unnecessary electronics or credit card debts, the result is a cycle of financial slavery. Robert Kiyosaki always emphasizes this difference. The rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities thinking they are assets. And it's this confusion that traps most people. Transforming your salary into assets is like changing the boat's direction. Instead of rowing aimlessly, you start navigating toward an island of freedom. And each asset you create becomes like a soldier working for you day and night without complaining, without asking for vacation, without missing work. The secret is simple but powerful. Start small, but start now. Every real or dollar directed toward an asset is one more step toward multiplying your salary. Have you noticed how so many people work hard, receive their salary every month, and still remain trapped in the same routine, never achieving financial freedom? The truth is simple. It doesn't matter how much you earn, but how you use what you earn. With that in mind, I prepared a special gift. The book, How to Get Rich, Even Earning Just One Salary. In it, you'll find practical principles and teachings capable of transforming your relationship with money, even if today you depend on just one salary. Few units available. Take advantage before I remove it from the site. Continuing. This is one of the most powerful steps and, at the same time, most ignored by people. Most do exactly the opposite. They receive their salary, pay all the bills, buy what they want, and only then, if something is left over, they save. But almost nothing is ever left over, right? The key here is to reverse the order. Paying yourself first means that as soon as your salary hits your account, you set aside a fixed percentage exclusively for yourself, before any bill, before any purchase, before any expense. This money isn't for the bank or for stores or for creditors. It's your future, your investment, your freedom. Think of this as planting seeds in a field. If you eat all the seeds, you'll never have a harvest. But if you reserve a part to plant, you'll soon have trees that will produce fruits infinitely more valuable than the initial seeds. And it doesn't need to be a large amount. Many people give up because they believe it's only worth saving if it's $500 or $1,000. But that's not true. If you start with 50, 100, or even 5% of your salary, you're already building the habit. And over time, this habit transforms into wealth. Robert Kiyosaki and other great financial educators repeat this like a mantra. The first bill you should pay is to yourself. Because if you don't do this, you'll always be working for others, never for yourself. Imagine the difference between two people who earn the same salary. One saves 10% every month religiously before spending. The other pays everything first and tries to save if there's anything left over. 10 years later, one of them will have a solid foundation of investments and opportunities. The other will be complaining that they never managed to save anything. The secret is discipline. Put this into practice with your next paycheck. Take a part of your salary and save it before spending a cent. At first it may seem strange, but soon you'll realize you don't miss it. And this money will start working for you. This is the fourth hidden step to multiply your salary in a short time. Transform the act of paying yourself first into an unbreakable habit. Here's one of the most powerful truths about money. Depending on a single source of income is like walking on a fragile bridge that can collapse at any moment. If your salary is the only support, just one unexpected event, a layoff, a company crisis, a cut in overtime, and your entire financial balance can crumble. The rich understood this a long time ago. They don't lean on just one leg, but build several. Each new source of income is like erecting an extra pillar that supports the house. The more pillars, the more solid the structure. But you might be thinking, I don't have money to start a big business. And here's the secret. Extra income doesn't need to start big. It can be born from something simple that you already know or already have. Practical examples. If you know how to cook well, you can sell lunchboxes or homemade sweets. If you have crafting skills, you can turn them into internet sales. If you master a subject, you can give private lessons online or in person. You can even use your car for app-based transportation a few hours per week. Additionally, today the internet has opened a universe of opportunities. Creating digital content, selling services, doing freelance work, even setting up a small virtual store. All of this can start in your free time without compromising your main job. The big difference is in how you see your time. Instead of spending hours watching TV or scrolling social media, you can transform part of that time into an investment that generates money. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that the employee works for money, but the entrepreneur creates ways to make money work for him. Creating extra sources of income is taking the first step in that direction, even if you still keep your job. And the best of all, often the extra income becomes so strong that in a few years it surpasses the fixed salary. And when that happens, you finally achieve the freedom to choose. Work by choice, not by obligation. This is the fifth hidden step to multiply your salary. Use your skills, talents, and opportunities to generate new sources of money. Before continuing, let me ask you something special. Write here in the comments which city or country you're watching this video from right now. You know why? Because every time someone comments, I realize we're forming a large community of people who want to change their lives. It's exciting to see messages coming from various parts of the world, from other countries, and feel that we're all connected by the same objective, building financial freedom and a better future. Knowledge is the only asset that no one can take away from you. Money can run out, jobs can be lost, material goods can wear out, but what you learn stays with you forever. The problem is that most people don't use their salary to invest in themselves. They spend everything on bills and immediate consumption, but almost never set aside a part for courses, books, training, or anything that increases their market value. This is exactly why many spend years working hard without being able to leave the same place. Think of some practical examples. A person who learns a new language has more chances of getting a promotion or a better job. Someone who invests in sales or negotiation courses can increase their own income in a few months. Those who study personal finance can better use their own salary and transform it into wealth. Knowledge works like a lever. Even with little effort, you achieve much greater results. And here's the secret. You don't need to invest large amounts to start. A $40 book can bring an idea that generates thousands in the future. A cheap course can open doors that were previously closed. Robert Kiyosaki often says that the mind is the greatest asset a person possesses. When you feed this asset, you're building the foundations of your wealth. But if you don't, you'll always be limited, regardless of the size of your salary. Therefore, the seventh hidden step to multiply your salary in a short time is simple. Reserve a part of it to invest in yourself. The return will come in the form of more opportunities, promotions, extra income, and personal growth. One of the biggest financial traps is the so-called lifestyle inflation. It happens when salary increases and, instead of using this extra money to invest, the person simply increases expenses. It's very common. Someone receives a promotion or changes jobs and shortly after trades cars, rents a bigger house, starts frequenting expensive restaurants and buying things they didn't buy before. The result, despite earning more, nothing is left over at the end of the month. This happens because the mind is programmed to consume more whenever more money comes in. It's like filling a leaky bucket. No matter how much water you pour, it will never be full. Controlling lifestyle means learning to keep your expenses below what you earn, even when salary increases. It's not about living in scarcity or denying small pleasures, but about not falling into the illusion that earning more means spending more. Think of the following example. If a person earns $3,000 and spends it all, they accumulate nothing. If, after a few years, they start earning $6,000 and increase expenses to $6,000, the situation remains the same. But if instead they maintain the lifestyle at $3,000 and invest the other $3,000, in a few years, they'll have built solid wealth. This is the real secret of the rich. They don't let themselves be carried away by immediate consumption. They use salary increases as fuel to invest more, not to spend more. Controlling lifestyle is, therefore, an essential step to multiply salary. Because if you don't learn to spend less than you earn, no raise will be enough. Let me tell you a harsh but liberating truth. It's not the size of your salary that determines your wealth, but what you do with it. How many people have you seen who, after a raise, continue complaining that money never remains? This happens because whenever salary grows, expenses grow along with it. It's like running on a treadmill. No matter how much you accelerate, you stay in the same place. Controlling lifestyle is having the wisdom not to fall into this trap. It's looking at each salary increase as an opportunity to plant more seeds, not to buy more temporary things. Think about this. The new car loses value. Fashionable clothes go out of style. The expensive dinner ends in a few hours. But the money you invest today can transform into assets that will work for you for the rest of your life. True wealth comes when you can tell yourself, I don't need to spend to prove anything to anyone. I'm going to use this money to build my future. Deal. And here's the motivation I want to leave with you. Every time you resist the temptation to increase unnecessary expenses, you're taking a firm step toward your financial freedom. You're not depriving yourself. You're preparing to live what many will never live. A life without worries, where money works for you. Remember, the world values those who show off, but freedom only comes to those who control. Here's a secret that separates those who merely survive from those who build wealth, making money work for you more than once. Most people receive their salary, spend it, and that's it. It's over. It's as if money had only one life cycle. It enters, exits, and disappears. But those who manage to multiply know how to transform each amount received into a seed that generates fruits. And these fruits, in turn, generate new seeds. It's the power of reinvestment. You save part of your salary and invest in something that gives returns. This return comes back to you, and instead of spending, you put it to work again. Over time, a snowball effect is created. Money multiplies by itself. Imagine someone who starts by saving only $200 per month. After investing this amount in something that yields returns, profits start to appear. Instead of spending these profits, the person reinvests them. Years later, what used to be just $200 has transformed into thousands. This is how small amounts transform into large fortunes, not by initial size, but by the discipline of reinvesting. What many don't realize is that your salary can be the key to creating this gear. Every cent reused is a soldier returning from the battlefield with reinforcements, ready to fight alongside you again. Remember, money has multiplication power, but only if you allow it to continue moving. Spending it is killing the cycle. Reusing it is giving life to a process that never stops growing. The difference between those who get rich and those who spend their entire lives tied to a salary is in the way of thinking. The employee sees salary as an end, works, receives, and spends. The investor, on the other hand, sees each salary as a beginning, works, receives, and transforms into something greater. Thinking like an investor doesn't mean abandoning your job, but changing your perspective. Instead of asking, how much am I going to spend this month, ask, how much of my salary will generate returns for me in the future? This is the mentality that liberates. Even with little money today, when you adopt this vision, you start to see opportunities that were hidden. Every amount saved, every knowledge acquired, and every asset built become part of wealth that grows over time. And here's the great truth. Financial freedom doesn't arrive suddenly, but as a result of these small decisions, repeated day after day. When you start thinking like an investor, even though you still depend on salary, you're already on the path to independence. And so we reach the end of these 7 hidden steps to multiply your salary in a short time. If this content made sense to you, I make you a special invitation. Leave your like on this video and subscribe to the channel. This way you won't miss the next content that's coming, and you'll also help this community grow more and more. Thank you very much for following me this far, and see you in the next video.